try one of yours?
Okay, I'll try one. See how that goes.
Yeah.
I just accidentally moved my chair a tiny bit. I think we're okay.
I think you're okay.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the A.I.R podcast. So, season 2 finale, we have a special guest. We have Laura Canning. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, Winston.
So, a bit about Laura is that she's a film academic, lecturer, and you are also the head of the bachelor's degree for film in Falmouth Uni School of Film and TV. Is that right?
It is.
Okay.
Exactly right.
I've done my homework.
Yeah.
So, bit of background how we met. I actually, in uni, was never actually under you, never taught you.
No, you weren't actually my student, although I still maintain you should have been. You would have enjoyed it tremendously.
I think I would church jump. I love my course as well too much, I think. Then we've met on films because uni collaborate a bit.
I think at this stage, yeah, we've probably worked together as much as any student who was ever on the BA film course, and that's through the Sound Image Cinema Lab, which is the other thing I'm part of.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we met, how we know. I'm still here, graduated, still in contact. But yeah, think best way to showcase is show people a bit about your work, show us a bit of your showroom.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. That sounds good.
So here's a bit of what Laura has done.
Fifth vessel circle. Olewa. Nimdi never gorffenus yn gwirion.
Lindsay Trevith, Gorffenus and Gwirionedd.
Tis a orphan.
Ah. Gwir.
Mom?
Tra Janj me ambos. Tra Ra Chanja never again.
Yeah, so that's quite a bit of what Laura has done. But how about I leave it to you? You want to introduce a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, I've been thinking about how to frame myself up for this, because when you do an interview, sometimes the question is, well, why is this person worth talking to? And I've been trying to work out why I'm worth talking to. And I guess some of it is around the work that I do with the Sound Image Cinema Lab, which is our in-house film production unit, basically, at the School of Film and Television here. And, you know, when I was thinking about the things I do now in terms of my own research and making and the rest of it, the one thing I kept coming back to is, but this is all still so new. And so this has made me think a lot about my own kind of path here, which has been very kind of winding.
Is it a long path? Because you've done your BA mostly in radio and photography, you mentioned, and then you did your MA, and then you did a doctorate into film economics.
Well, yeah. So it's probably worth pointing out that I really only got into this whole area in my 30s, because I did an undergraduate in communication studies in Dublin, which is, I'm from Ireland originally, but I didn't do a particularly amazing job at that. But I think the key thing was, if you were a kind of an academically bright kid growing up in Ireland in the 1980s and 90s, the very last thing you would do was something creative. It was seen as sort of a waste of your abilities. So I sort of found myself resisting even thinking about creative work or creative practice for a long time. So what I was doing a degree that felt like this is all unconscious, but I think we make very unconscious decisions about our education and our own practice sometimes. So what I found myself doing was trying to find a degree course that was, quite prestigious academically as it was at the time, but also had like a certain amount of creative stuff in it. But then I don't think I was prepared for that at all, and I didn't, I kind of tanked the whole degree, which I think then put me off the whole idea of creative work and academic work for probably about a decade afterwards.
So then what do you do at that time while working?
It's interesting. It's like I say, when you do an interview like this, you find yourself thinking about your past in all sorts of different ways. And so I did the kind of standard post-university jobs. I worked in call centers. I went into marketing. I kind of fell into marketing. And then, by the time I was in my late 20s, I was very senior in a marketing role, running big campaigns for big kind of blue chip companies in Ireland. And it was, very stressful and I guess superficially maybe glamorous. You were sort of wearing business suits and having fancy lunches. And it was all in the middle of what we call the Celtic Tiger now in Ireland, where there was a lot of money going around. And I was working in a lot of tech accounts. And it was just at that 1990s internet technological boom. So it felt like you were part of something very kind of cutting edge and flashy, but there was nothing behind it. And I was really, really unsatisfied. So I took a very hard look at my life and went, I'm not remotely happy doing any of this.
Which is creative.
Yeah. But the honest truth is I only very accidentally ended up doing a master's in film and television. It was a complete accident, because what I'd actually wanted to do was, I've always been really interested in writing. And I think that's where kind of I've come from, first and foremost. So I applied for a master's in journalism, which I got rejected from. And instead, somebody called me and went, we have this MA in film and television. We think you might be kind of more interested in that. And I genuinely went, I don't think I want to do this, because I've already been through one really painful rejection this week. I don't think I can take another. But actually I went in and did the interview and immediately just felt like I'd found my people. But it was a total accident, because I'd never seen myself as, if you like, a maker or thinker about film. I'd only ever seen film as something I loved that was kind of a personal passion.
So from a fan now, you're actually like a filmmaker now.
Yeah, which is a very strange trajectory. And it's, I think a lot of the times with your life, you can only understand in retrospect. So for me, it makes complete sense now that many of my early memories are just about film, or just about going to the cinema, which is a massive special occasion. When I was a kid, I can remember sitting there watching, Disney's Fox and the Hound. And I remember as the credits rolled and every other child has left, and I'm sitting there clutching my teddy bear, crying my face off because it's so tragic. And I just remember my parents sort of standing there looking completely baffled. What are we going to do? Why is she taking this so seriously?
Oh, that's interesting looking back.
Yeah.
I mean, then you've basically kind of done a full circle back here.
Yeah. But the MA in film and television that I did was just an amazing experience. It's a master's program that doesn't exist in Ireland anymore, but of the people who were on it, there was such an amazing mixture of people, and a lot of us have gone on, I think, to do just very interesting things. People who work for the national broadcaster in Ireland. There's a producer who's made a lot of really amazing British TV, a lot of drama for Netflix and that kind of thing. A lot of us ended up going the kind of postgraduate studies route into PhD. It felt like a time which you don't often get as, if you're like a grown up, where I just had a year to think deep thoughts about film and just to enjoy myself.
But you wouldn't do it if you didn't realize deep down you actually enjoy it.
No, absolutely. So I think for me, I think this is probably the case for a lot of people. It's something that I understand again now retrospectively. It was exactly the right thing to do. But it was a complete accident. And I don't think I'd have had the nerve to apply for it myself.
Because they told you, why don't you try it?
And it was very confidence inspiring for me, because I'd had such a disastrous time as an undergraduate. What I think we would now understand as having lots of additional support needs and things like that. But at the time, maybe that understanding wasn't there. So I sort of casually thought I was just quite stupid,
No.
which seems, kind of unfair.
But sometimes it's just the system you're in doesn't work.
Yeah, and I think that's something for a lot of undergraduate students is trying to find your place in a system.
Yeah.
And trying to find out how you can carve out your own space in what can sometimes feel like a big impersonal monolith.
Well, I've had that. I think Falmouth helped me with that. But before that, I just had no success with whatever I'm doing now in terms of film and TV.
I think it's one of the reasons I like working at Falmouth is because for me, I feel like what we want to do is make a space where people find their own voice, that it's not so much about you're here to learn from us, here's that, here's the top down, here's all the information, take it in, regurgitate it.
But you ended up working with students as well, and it's not top down, is it? It's quite...
No. Again, I suppose this is one of the kind of odd things about my path is I didn't come into making, I came into film scholarship to kind of academic research first and foremost, because I did the MA, and then the university that I was at, a really, really fantastic guy called Pat Brereton, who became my PhD supervisor. They did two things. They asked me back to teach on the MA straight away. Just, again, an unusual thing to happen.
Yeah.
But also they offered me a full scholarship to do my PhD there. And so I guess I couldn't say no, but I didn't have any other imminent plans. But also I'd found a world I wanted to live in, and it was just a world of watching and thinking about and writing about and reading about cinema. And not just what we see on the screen, but the thing I discovered I had a real passion for was what are the circumstances, what are the conditions that have to exist in order for things to get made. So it's how in a roundabout way I ended up doing a PhD, which was largely about what we term political economy, which is, if you like, again, what are the political and economic conditions which allow an industry to thrive in a particular way or to, wither and die in a particular way. So that's what I ended up doing my PhD on.
And then the teaching came as a bonus with it. So.
Well, it was interesting. It's funny now you say it, because actually one of the things I discovered in the MA, or rather, coming back to teach on the MA, was that I loved teaching. So the PhD really was, at the time, a means to an end, because in Ireland, really, if you want to do serious university teaching, you have to have a PhD.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, okay, well, I'll do it, but really it's so that I can be allowed to teach, because the teaching, the idea of being, not so much being able to share ideas with people, although that's brilliant, but the idea that I get to stand beside people while they learn all this stuff, and they get to decide what's important about it, what's significant to them. That felt like a real privilege. And I discovered I absolutely loved that, which is why I ended up doing the PhD.
But you've done I think one of those things, to be in a teaching position, you have to have a lot of experience first, I think. And it's different for every creative, and it's never stagnant. It's always interesting.
Everybody comes to it in different ways. So for me, I was kind of set on an academic career, I think, at that point, once I understood that such a thing might be possible. Yeah. But I didn't have any sense of what that would look like or the right way to do it, or how I would end up in Cornwall, which is a complete accident.
Another accident.
If anything, I think it's probably worth everyone understanding that all the best and worst things that ever happened to you will come completely out of the blue.
Yeah.
That so much of life is an accident that you have to react to, but you also have to be prepared for in some way, so that if a situation arises where you can say yes, that you're actually prepared to say yes.
Yeah. How did that happen to Cornwall?
Yeah, well, my wonderful partner, he was based in the UK, so we were doing a long distance relationship while I was doing a PhD. Mm-hmm. And we compromised a lot, because it was really important to both of us that we got what we needed,
Yeah.
you know. So we wanted to move to the UK because his daughter is in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it was a case of, I'll move to the UK, but you have to move to wherever in the UK works for my career.
Okay.
So that was the agreement. Is for Eric, as long as he was near an airport, it was going to be fine. That was
Okay.
'cause, you know, he traveled a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then there was this massive phase of applying for academic jobs. I don't know if you've never applied for an academic job. If anyone who's listening, if you ever want to apply for an academic job, I just want to explain it's the most dispiriting process ever, because it's not a case of you get a CV together and you send it out. What you have to do is you've got sort of a 13, 15 page CV, and then you've got to prepare a statement for the job that shows how your research abilities and approaches and your teaching abilities and approaches, how do they fit into the exact course you'd be teaching on? How does it fit into the university's 10-year strategy? All that stuff. So applying for academic jobs is a massive thing. And I did 84 of those without a single response other than a flat rejection. And I think that taught me a lot about actually working in film.
Yeah.
Because it's such a game of rejection, you know, and it's not a personal thing. It's just
There's so many
people who want to do it, and also there are so many reasons why this person is going to get this job and not you this time around, and you can't take it personally, and you can't feel rejected even while you are being rejected.
Yeah.
So what I started to do is I actually started setting myself a goal of how many rejections can I get this month? so that
Let's
at
count
least,
them.
so that at least I had a sense of some kind of satisfaction. I was like, yes, I've hit my goal of 10 rejections this
At least you know
month.
if you've at least applied for 10.
Yeah.
And 10 got back to you. Kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So trying to take that out of the picture so you're not feeling terrible about it all the time. And I think a lot of people I know, they stopped trying after maybe the first 50 applications that didn't go anywhere. But I just kept trying and kept trying and trying. So application 84 was for a junior lecturership in a university I'd never heard of,
Okay.
in a place I'd never been,
Mm-hmm.
which is Falmouth University.
Kind of like me when I applied for you.
And so that's how it happened. I kind of came here for the interview,
Mm-hmm.
came as far as campus, did my interview. It was, you know, kind of panel interview with all the people I'd be working with, and then you had to give a sample lecture to the rest of the faculty, and you know, it's a big thing. And then I remember standing, looking around the campus, going, God, what a cool place to visit. What such a shame I'll never see this again. I remember being on the train back to Bristol, going, well, that was a great experience, because again, I went into it saying, okay, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm going to be incredibly honest about all my answers, even if I think it's the wrong thing to say. And then I'm going to ask for feedback and see how I need to change my approach. But actually, they just hired me on the spot.
Really?
Because apparently being honest and straightforward about how I approached things was kind of what they were looking for.
I think that's kind of how I got into this course as well.
Yeah.
Because I applied for film actually. And then it happened when someone asked me to go to my current course, which is the post course. Because I was just honest,
Yes.
I'm not a script writer, but I'm not a director. I don't have intentions to go there. I just went straight up. I saw the lecture, you're gonna have to do that, sure. But I know by second, third year, I want to go into this side of the field, which is post. And then they just went, oh, okay. Have you heard of this course? Do you want to go in? And I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, because there's no one right way to end up working in film. And I think sometimes people get very preoccupied with the idea that there's a specific route, you know, as if it's like being a dentist. One day you're not a dentist, and then you do your dentistry exams, and suddenly you're a dentist. Of course, it's not like that. Everyone finds their way in completely different ways.
Well, I think I'm still going to be. And I think everyone is still as well.
I agree. But I think it's one of the, you know, some people should probably just go and follow every thread they can
And see
in
where
the
it
field and
leads.
see where it leads. And some people should spend 3 years studying. It's different for everyone.
Yeah, because I know some people, like I've met here, it sounds better. They kind of do better in the academic route. And then some just, I'm done here, let me do stuff. And then I might come back, I might not. But that's the way I can probably get better.
Yeah.
Just by the doing. But
And the people I've worked with have come from, you know, all different backgrounds, or, you know, some left school at 16 and started working, and, you know, some people fell into it. Some people laser focused on exactly what they wanted to do, and it worked out for them. Some people laser focused on exactly what they wanted to do, and it didn't work out for them.
And then they try something else.
And then they come back to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I think it helps because you've done your marketing and everything. That technically helps when you're doing like, because you've done a few pictures and stuff for films.
Yeah.
And people don't realize if you want to make a film, there's a lot of pitching. It's technically like elevator pitch, getting people to invest in the money and stuff to make a film.
Yeah, because we talk about it a lot. You can make a film on your own. I mean, you can. It's very hard, very time consuming, and you're bound to be working on a very small scale at kind of a low budget.
Yeah.
But to make anything of any kind of scale at all, you have to be able to convince other people.
Yeah.
Not even that it's a great idea, but you have to be able to convince other people that it's an idea you feel so strongly about that it's worth making. And I think that's the same for everyone. You know, if you're interested in working as a lighting assistant, you think, oh, I don't have to know how to position myself or market myself or whatever. Maybe you don't, but what you do have to do is convince the gaffer that, you know, you're the person they should take on as the assistant.
You basically have to show them you love your job.
Yeah.
And then that thing just brings out.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you know, people often talk a lot about the idea of the shoot and the production itself.
Yeah.
But, you know, we all know that actually development and pre-production, that's where all the kind of grind and boring work needs to take place in order for there to be a shoot in the first place.
Yeah, so that's what people don't know about pre-production. It's about planning the shoot, planning the main story, location, everything. Basically, before actually planning to do the shoot, is everything researching behind. And
we like as a culture, what we want to do often is to focus in on the kind of most photogenic aspects of the process.
Yeah.
You know, so you'll hear about X famous director, and, you know, here we are on set, but nobody ever shows you all the work that goes into kind of before and after that shoot.
Because it's like a couple of years in development, probably shoot for like a year and edit for like another year plus or so.
Again, yeah,
so
and
much
the shoot itself is the smallest part of the actual process, you know. But yeah, I think, you know, for you finding your way into all sorts of creative opportunities through post-production, it feels like the right way for you. But it's been really nice to see you just leaning into so many other creative things.
I'm just having fun now. But is it different then? So you've made all these films, pitching. Has it been hard? What's one thing people don't really expect from it?
Honestly, I think it's that people actually are really, really looking for interesting new ideas, and people really want you to succeed.
Yeah.
I think that was almost a surprise to me, because you'll notice that we've already gotten to me coming to Falmouth without me ever having made a film.
Yes.
Because at that point I am, you know, very much academic researcher. I'm teaching history and context modules, and I'm really just thinking about the philosophy and the aesthetics and economic and production contexts. But I think one of the reasons I got into filmmaking here is because there's such a brilliant community of people who just want you to succeed.
Yeah.
And that's not just the university, it's everyone in Cornwall who's kind of involved in film. I've found has just been really supportive and just wants you to be part of the thing we all think is so cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a specifically Cornish thing. It feels a bit like it is, because we're geographically
very
sufficiently remote that if you want to make something effective, you have to do it yourself with your friends.
Yeah.
There's an Irish term, mehel, which is it's an expression that was originally kind of coined to describe how at harvest time all the other families and farms locally to you would come and help you with your harvest. You'd get everything in, and then you'd all move to the next farm, and then you'd all together, and then you'd get their harvest in. So it's the idea of kind of collective work for a common goal as a community event and as a community process that's good for everyone. And that's the word that I always think about when I think about filmmaking in Cornwall, because everyone's always trying to help everyone get their
And it's all the same
project.
people you run into.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up kind of working on the first film project I ever worked on.
And then you try and bring students in as well.
Yeah.
I remember the projects you've done. Well, the feature film you did help with, it was like, what, 60, 80% students? There's a lot of students, I can't remember.
Yeah, so I guess for anyone who doesn't know the kind of model of the Sound Image Cinema Lab, what we do is we work with filmmakers who are feature filmmakers, short filmmakers, to kind of basically help them get projects across the line and work in all stages of production. So I've currently got 4 feature films with directors and producers attached who are in that kind of development stage at the moment.
The big development.
Yeah, and then what will happen is they'll all shoot down here.
Yeah.
And often with a lab project, it's professional heads department and everybody else is a student. And so it's a model that I think took us some time to maybe convince filmmakers worked.
Yeah.
Because there's historically the idea had been, I suppose, that you're a student and then suddenly magically you become a professional in the same way you suddenly become a dentist after you qualify with your dentistry exams. But what we found was that actually, because we had so much faith and trust in students, they really repaid that and they did a great job. So I think us working with people like Mark Jenkin, particularly in things like Bait, Ennis Main, Rose Nevada being the new one, that's really helped other filmmakers to understand how we approach it. So I think, often it's just professional heads department and everyone else.
Because they need to also teach them in a way.
Yeah, so like your shoot might take a little bit longer, but it's a really good learning experience for the students. Yeah. And it's the one thing that I always enjoy talking to heads of department about is very often they'll say, I might have been a little bit suspicious about the idea of it before I came in, but actually it's helped me regain my love of filmmaking.
Yeah, because you have hungry, passionate, fresh blood.
Yeah, and also that you're explaining why you're doing something, and it refreshes your whole relationship to your own work.
Was it hard to get the first one started?
Yeah, I mean that predates me. So I joined here in 2014, and I think, broadly the lab's been making films since 2014, 2015. But I only sort of came on board in the lab as production. The production person in maybe 2020.
Also, I think you focus on the production. Neil does another part of it as well.
Yeah, so we have, if you like, in theory, I'm responsible for production. Neil and Kingsley are responsible for things like development and strategy. Yeah. But in practice, what's more and more happening is that we're kind of taking on kind of project by project.
So when the project comes in, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, or sometimes a project will come in and it's already, if you like, past that development stage. But for example, the features that I've got in development or pre-production at the moment, some of them are very advanced in the process at this point, and they just need, crew and kit and logistic support and facilities. And some are still in that script writing phase.
Then they just need a bit of support to start pushing it more.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe even just some advice on who to talk to about this aspect.
I think people don't realize when you shoot in Cornwall, it's a very different ballgame.
Yeah.
That I guess London's very different. They have their studio, the structure. Cornwall, people don't realize just logistically to get places is very different.
Yes. So sometimes people come down on a location, Reiki, and they've looked on a map and thought, okay, that's probably an hour away from here. And they look at it, and by the time actually you've driven there, it's 2.5 hours because the roads are very different.
Yeah, the roads are
single
different.
lanes,
Like, if you think by distance, but by practically driving traffic.
So I think the other thing is because Cornwall's been such an attraction
Yeah.
to incoming production companies over the last 10 years, I think that sort of helped the industry in general down here. And Screen Cornwall do amazing work in trying to support all sorts of productions, not just kind of lab ones and student related ones, but kind of trying to develop a whole screen industry's infrastructure down here.
Yeah.
Trying to work with that. But everything starts small. Everything starts with an idea. And I think I see it all the time. People with great ideas who just don't have the confidence to kind of look at taking the next step
Or just push
to make it. Yeah.
Then, I mean, you've done that a lot with students. You supported their ideas.
Yeah, and often for me, it's because I try to contribute to the community, if you like. For me, we're a community of filmmakers, and that's how we conduct ourselves as filmmakers. And so it could be as simple as, somebody, Laura from Screen Cornwall, asking if I'll have a conversation with, a first-time director who she knows is nervous about the process, and sometimes it's as simple as that. Me just having a call with somebody to kind of reassure them that they've got it and it's fine, and to maybe talk them through some kind of final pointers. And sometimes it's a case of helping people find their people, because I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Is trying to find people who love the thing you love as much as you do, and to kind of collaborate with each other and help each other. If we see people making a mistake, often it's I'm gonna keep writing this until it's 100% perfect, and I'm not going to show anyone. I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm not going to admit that I want this in case it gets taken away from me. Whereas actually, if you go, well, I got an idea for a thing, I don't know, it might be a terrible idea. Who knows? Do you want to give it a shot? And that's definitely how I started making films.
Just like trying out stuff. I mean, that's how most things do. Like, can you help out with this for like a bit? And then you just start going forward, I guess.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the effort is a psychological one. So I know when I was growing up, I understand now that part of the reason I didn't get into film earlier is because there was no route, there was no pathway. I might as well have said I want to be an astronaut. It probably would have been easier for me to say I want to be an astronaut, because I would at least have understood that, there were paths I could take, that I could, take a science route or a physics route or something. Whereas I think people understanding that there are pathways in.
Do you learn a lot of stuff from students, or how's it like teaching relationship wise, I guess?
Yeah, I learned so much from students. I mean, because again, I didn't go to film school. So for me, finding my way through the contextual work, the research, the kind of academic scholarship. It wasn't until I got here and started seeing how students approach practice that I started to think, oh, I could actually do that. Because I'd never really been around that kind of framework. And so, we talk sometimes in the office about the idea of I didn't go to film school, so I'm trying to design one I would have wanted to go to.
Okay.
But actually, yes, one of my favorite things to do is to walk around the building and go into edit suites or post sound suites, or to be in a studio watching a workshop and just to see what I can pick up. But I think the first time I directed a short, which was Blajawa, which you worked on with me, I learned so much, because that was a really interesting experience where I'd made a film previously, which I had actually just made completely solo. It was literally just shot on my phone. And I'd edited it myself on my laptop in Premiere Pro. And it got oddly well received, is probably how I'd put it when I screen it to anyone. And it's not something that I consider a film now, if you like. But what it did was it helped me understand that the processes involved weren't beyond me. And so I applied for a Screen Cornwall short film commission, which I got with the script I'd written. And I'll be honest, I really love writing, and I thought, oh, I'm going to write films. That I could do that. I could
Yes.
totally do that. I could still be safely behind my desk. And then for some reason I thought, but I'd like to direct just once and see what it's like. And I genuinely expected to be like almost everyone I've ever met who has directed, who's gone, yeah, it was a really interesting experience and I'm glad I did it, but I don't want to do it again. So most people have a kind of a vision of what directing is. And if they follow it through, often find actually, no, I'd rather do something else. I'd rather work in film, but in a different capacity. I don't want to direct.
Yeah, yeah.
But unfortunately for me, I discovered that I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
So that's why I guess I'm pushing that side a little bit more, because what I do is some projects I work on as a producer
Yeah.
or as an executive producer. Other projects are my own, which I write and sometimes direct.
Yep.
But yeah, Pajama was really interesting because everyone on it, with the exception of 2 professionals, was a student or had just graduated.
And the 2 were heads of departments, basically.
The 2 were, one was my director of photography, a really wonderful man called Adam Leahy,
Yep.
who's shot a bunch of fantastic, really interesting films himself, and who works as a professional DP, and a really lovely, great production designer called Luke Hudson. And they were the only 2 professionals on the shoot, and everyone else, including my producer, was either a student or had just graduated.
Yeah, I think.
So my producer was a really, really fantastic emerging producer called Rachel Burton, who's worked on a whole heap of very impressive features and TV shows.
She's still doing a
ever
lot
since.
now.
She certainly is. But I think it's 2 things. One is, if I genuinely believe in the students, why are they not taking on these roles? Which we do believe in them. But also, I understood that it would be a strange experience, effectively being the least experienced person on a shoot with a load of students, all of who had made more films than me. But it was
in
fantastic.
numbers, basically, because of all the shoots they've done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I say I learned from them, I think sometimes that's quite it's quite a glib, shallow response. Oh, I love teaching. I learn as much from them as they do from me. And people actually don't mean it. They're saying it to, I think, be polite or or to kind of anchor their own.
Yeah.
They're doing it as a demonstration of humility. Whereas no, I genuinely was kind of going, oh, okay. So that's how the first AD does this. Oh, this is why the sound recordist needs to do this. I was genuinely learning it as I
that project was
going.
also a learning curve for everyone, I think, even for me.
Yeah, but I think that's when really interesting things happen.
Yeah.
And the film itself was very well received, and it was like a finalist at the Celtic Media Awards, and it was semi-finalist in the New York Indie Shorts, and it's screened in Canada, and it's screened in all over Europe. It hasn't screened in Asia yet, but I'll let you know.
I'll bring it over.
Yeah, and it's had a lovely response, and I think there's something about, it's a very simple story about a teenager and grief.
Yeah.
But there's something about, I think, the honesty of the making of it that also kind of comes across on screen.
Yeah, because that was a really long process just to learn it as well. Because even I had to learn stuff from like all the other technicians and lecturers here.
Yeah.
But
for me, I think one of the things I always try and do if I'm on a project is I'm always going to try and be the stupidest person in the room.
And then just take everything in.
And just take everything in. Yeah, exactly.
But when you do like these kind of films, do you normally handpick, or is it normally like the people that comes to you about it?
Well, I mean, you mean in terms of student crew on films or in general?
When you do like sound image.
Yeah. So the usually at this point the filmmakers will come to us and say, this is what we need. And part of my job as production lead is to try and work with them to kind of find out what really are their crew needs, what are their kit needs if they're hiring kit from us, that kind of thing. And then part of it is writing the call, the call out that goes to all
Yeah,
the
the crew
students,
call
the
for
crew
it.
call, writing it in such a way that it's really clear to people what the requirements are, what's needed.
Mm-hmm.
And in some roles, I couldn't put a first timer in there. What I'm looking for is someone with experience in, Spark trainee roles.
Yeah,
So, or somebody who has worked as a sound recordist before. And then with other roles, particularly, running is a brilliant way to get into film
Yeah, yeah.
because not just it's entry level, but also as a runner, you get to see every department and how every department works.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, if you don't have pre-existing film production experience, apply for all the runner roles you can.
Yeah.
So yeah, part of it's writing the call so that the right students are applying for the right roles. And then the rest of it is if somebody doesn't apply, I can't appoint them.
Oh, yeah.
So, for me, a lot of the work is in shortlisting. And I'll never make the final decision about a student if I can help it. Because for me, there's two reasons. One is, although in industry you might rock up to a new set and have to introduce yourself and not know anybody and just have to work with whoever's been assigned.
Yeah.
For me, it's preferable if people have had a chance to make their own decisions about what trainees are on their department. So usually what I'll try and do is have the head of department and maybe the producer or production coordinator interview alongside. And also that's experience for students then in interviewing too.
Yeah.
So I might shortlist, but I'll try and have the HOD make the decision about who they actually want on board.
That means you actually, in a way, know quite a lot of your students anyways, because you
Yeah.
kind of would have known what they've done and stuff.
Yeah, and I think some of it is students understanding that you don't have to come in with the body of experience. You just have to come in with the kind of an attitude that says, I'm going to put my hand up and
Try it
out. Yeah, and help get it done.
Have you got people where they do everything, you'd be like, let's give others a chance kind of thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, definitely. So for me, by the time you get to third year, my goal is that you've kind of got as much experience as you can.
Yeah.
But it's also my job to make sure that other people are coming through.
Yeah.
I would say that obviously in the School of Film and Television, we've got the BA Film, the BA Television and Film Production.
Yeah.
Which is a different course, which is very television oriented.
Yeah.
And we've got 2 MAs.
Yeah.
I would say that of the applicants we get, 70% of them are from the BA Film.
Yeah.
And about 20% are from the MA programs.
Yeah.
And then the remaining small percentage is from the TV course. Because they tend not to be the kind of students who want to move in that direction.
Yeah.
It's unusual. But by the time we get to third year, my goal isn't just to keep giving things to people I know are reliable. My goal is to start supporting other people to come through behind them.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one of the fears people have about the film industry is that it's full of, gatekeepers, people who are trying to get you to not make things.
Yeah.
But my experience is really most people want you to make things. And most people want to bring a new generation through. And that's kind of what we should be doing.
Sometimes you just need to take the chance.
Yeah.
And I think, at least some of them, you have the lecturers and support team because it's still with the uni support.
Yeah, and that's
It's
really that's
control.
important to us. And also there are some circumstances where that's really significant from a kind of a production point of view and also from the students' well-being point of view. I think working on The Severed Son with Dean Puckett is a good example of that.
Yeah.
Where I started off just in my capacity as production lead.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew Dean, but I didn't know him particularly well at that point.
Yeah.
But he's an emerging, at that time we started talking about it, an emerging horror director who's got his feature debut kind of in production and that's taken a while to come through. But I had an instinct about he asked me to read the script and I had an instinct about one of the characters. I thought, Flora Lambert, who's a fantastic young actor in Cornwall, she had played the lead in The Chow in my short.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, she'd be great for this role in the feature.
Yeah.
So I said, watch this film, tell me what you think of this actor. and he called her straight away and cast her in that role.
She did really well.
She
for
did
that
really
role.
well. She's great. I'm looking forward to working with her again. But what I didn't expect, and I think this shows a lot about how film works, is that Dean also, having seen the short, asked me to direct second unit on the feature, which is not something I had bargained for at all. And I just want to point out that every fibre of my being said, absolutely not. You are not ready for this. You cannot do that. And I said yes. So I think we've talked about this on more than one occasion, actually, you and me.
Yeah.
When do I say no?
Oh.
And I honestly think that it's more about, do I understand why I'm saying yes or no
Yeah.
to an option? And I said yes to something I was terrified of doing, because that's the way I will grow and that's the way I will get better at things. Did I think, oh my God, I could screw up this man's feature entirely? Particularly given that I understood from the script that the second unit's probably about 40% of the feature.
Yeah.
So I was terrified. Of course I was terrified. But if you're not terrified of the potential for failure, you're not going to put yourself in a position to succeed. So for me, there's different levels of terror. The other terror was, I understood we were going to be shooting on Bodmin Moor, that it was going to be a lot of night shoots.
Yes.
That we were shooting in the height of snake season. There's only one place in all of the UK that has a significant venomous snake
And it's in Bodmin.
population, and it's in Bodmin Moor. And that's their like height. And we had a really, really, really hot period of weather.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, in that time. And that's what they love. Like they love nothing more than to lie around in the moor on a hot piece of stone.
Yeah.
So I was very, very conscious that what I was doing wasn't just directing second unit, but I was committing to taking my own crew of students on night shoots, climbing hills up to the top of Bodmin Moor in the middle of the night with head torches in snake season. So, that's a fear that it is completely legitimate to have, and is frankly a much more serious fear than my fear of personal creative failure.
No, because that one has everyone else involved as well.
Yeah. And again, but it turns out it's one of the things I love most about film production is that you have to look out for each other. There is no way to make a film without bringing everyone with you and caring for them.
And then all the more you want to do better as well.
Yeah, and you just want it to be better all the time.
Yeah.
And so the really lovely, brilliant Josh Hooker, who had been my camera assistant on Blajawa, was the camera operator, the DP for second unit.
Yeah.
And Lily Coney, who is, again, a really, really amazing camera trainee, she was the second AC on Blajawa, and she stepped up because in that scenario, because of the potential for things going wrong, it needed to be people who had experience, and it needed to be people I had worked with before and where we could trust each other and we had each other's backs.
I know Josh, he's very good.
Yeah.
He does.
And in that scenario, there is a hierarchy, because I guess one of the things I enjoy about filmmaking is there's a hierarchy in that everyone has a specific role to do.
Yeah.
And your job as a producer or as a director is to hire the right people and then trust them to do their job well. But right up until the point you get there, there isn't a hierarchy. We're all carrying gear across, single plank bridges across a stream.
Everyone has to do it.
Everyone has to do it.
And everyone wants to go home after that, so everyone packs up.
And so there's no hierarchy in that sense. It's a bit like if you were raised in Ireland in the 1980s and 90s, you were raised in a very Catholic country.
Yeah.
But I think making films is the closest I can think of to a religious experience, because you're all, again, having this kind of collective
Everyone wants
moment.
to do it.
Yeah. So that was a fantastic experience, and I learned a huge amount and really enjoyed it. And Dean and I are really looking forward to working together again on his next feature too.
Oh, speaking of that, anything else we should look forward to?
In
the coming few months, years, when I send this out?
I think it's one of the things, you have to have a lot of projects on the go, because you have to be able to move between different things.
Yep.
Some projects are a sprint, some projects are a marathon.
Yep.
So I'm writing a feature at the moment. That's the marathon for me.
Yep.
Alongside the features that I'm working with other filmmakers in development on, and script editing and things like that. But I've also got a short that I'm hopefully going to shoot in spring break. So,
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yes.
bringing the
I might
students
give
in
you
as
a
well.
call. Oh no, 100%. And
Yeah.
in fact, I think on this one, probably my DP and my sound designer are probably going to be current students. So I'm trying to again
Bring them in.
bring them in and give people those opportunities
Yeah.
and just trust them.
And there are some really good students that can do it for sure.
Yeah, and you know, it's a fine line between giving people experience and not kind of overburdening them too
Yeah.
soon. But I think as part of your development, sometimes you just got to push yourself and try something you think might be a little bit beyond your capacity, as long as you can do it safely.
Yeah. And then if not, more people come in and help, and you just push a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've got a bunch of projects on it.
I'm sure we all have. Do you have anything for me?
I guess it's interesting for me seeing you, and it's been such a pleasure for me to see you grow and develop and change so much over the last couple of years.
Have I changed that much?
Well, even as I'm saying it, I think change isn't the right way of putting it. Mature, maybe, or you know, you're managing to temper the amazing enthusiasm you've always had for anything creative
Yeah.
with maybe a bit more like
Control.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great to see. And I guess what I wanted to ask you is, do you feel part of the filmmaking community in Cornwall at this point?
I think I'm still growing into it. So when I came here, obviously when I moved here, no connections. So when I tell people who wants to get into film, I'm like, I did uni because it's my first hub and like base. Some people don't. If you're already from Cornwall, you can do other things and meet more people. But I think maybe I haven't had as many years here, so I'm still growing. But I definitely can say I've met a lot of people that I'm slowly growing into that community steadily, I would say. So like the rest of the people here, quite a few of them are from Cornwall or have made base here in Cornwall as well.
Yeah.
I think that's how I'm starting. So yeah, I think I'm slowly getting there, and I'm still talking to just people, our community. And funny enough, people that I've done a shoot recently came here. I think Sound Image Cinema Labs helped support it. I think in March there was a one director used to be an MA here.
Right.
The Enrico Alessandro.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Those guys.
Yeah, Enrico did his BA in film.
Yeah. So I got in contact with them from Harry, who also studied here. They need sound recorders. And then the DP was Dan.
Oh, yeah.
So he's also from here. He studied here.
Yeah.
He's good friends with my coworker, Josh, at Beagle.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, technically, even if you're not in Cornwall, the filmmaking community here is still strong.
Yeah. I think, do you know,
And the
also
roots here.
that sort of reminded me of something, which is, I think sometimes, the greatest challenge we have is actually putting our hand up and saying out loud, I want to do this thing.
Yeah.
You have to kind of speak your desire to the universe sometimes and let it,
Yeah.
let it be known. Because that's how people know to find you. You know, that's how the universe knows how to find
It was
you.
a really funny one because I think I bought sound kit to help Harry with his film, Jockstrap. I was like, yeah, it's good chance, experiment, really nice shot. I know Harry, he knows me, can really play around with it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, I'm just slowly building up my kit. I think next few weeks later, I did another shoot for a web series. I did AC for that in the end. Big jump. But then I had enough to get my own sound kit now. And then suddenly Harry comes in, can you help Enrico with the sound? I was like, okay.
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
Just when it lined up, when I had
Yeah.
all the kit ready.
I think also that's a really good illustration of the idea that, often we sort of, we wait till we're ready.
Yeah.
But actually, all you can do is, what can I do today? What can I do this week? What can I
Yeah.
do this month? Sometimes you can't have a big grand plan. You've just got to
change.
try and, you've just got to try and pursue every small thread. Just pull at every small thread and see where it brings you.
Yeah. But I'm also in a weird position now because I've graduated. Now it's almost 2 years, I guess. Now people ask me for advice and I'm like, what do I tell them? Or people ask for help. So like friend Oliver Richards, starting out sound, any kid I have, I'll try and support him. He'll take care of it. I'll take care of him. He takes care of like my stuff.
Yeah.
pays it back. So I think it's weird. I'm in that position. I need to help myself, but I also have the ability to help more people,
Yeah.
which I'm quite happy about.
It's Mehel, the Irish
yeah.
harvest idea.
And I think because if Falmouth did so much for me, I feel more inclined to want to do stuff to give it back. So even if I have to do a project out of Cornwall and stuff, Cornwall will still have a special place for it.
We're really grateful you came here, I think, as well.
I'm very grateful.
You're like you're a fixture in our community, for sure.
I'm sad if I have to leave here soon.
Yeah.
But no, I'll come back
Fingers
visiting.
crossed.
Yeah, but I think that's all the time we have, actually. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching season 2. And hopefully we'll see you again soon. But yeah, thank you so much, and bye.